Hi everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms. In this video, we will discuss the astrology of July 2022, and I will also be uploading the tarot predictions for each zodiac, so make sure you stay tuned to that. Subscribe and hit the bell notification so you know exactly when I'm uploading them. There's a lot to discuss this month, so I will get started. On the 1st itself, we have Mars in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto is in retrograde. So one thing to note here is that Scorpios will feel it quite a bit because both of these planets are your rulers, Pluto being your modern ruler and Mars being your traditional ruler. So this can come in the form of a bit of an internal conflict because of the square aspect here. And the second thing to note, and this applies for everyone in general, that you want to exert your willpower and your drive because Mars in its element, but there might be some internal inhibitions or interferences that need to be dealt with first before we take action. So those things will come up. More hints, issues around power, control, and the ego can come forward in order for us to examine what is the deeper motivation. Why do we keep wanting something that we don't truly want, but at the same time it's kind of habituated, societally approved, and so on and so forth. Third thing, there might be some impulsive action we take that damages the self. Again, coming from that egotistical point of view, not saying that that's the only way this is going to play out. By the way, these are many different options that it can play out in. But you can see it in your surroundings as well, that everyone wants to do what they want to do, but they're not really concerned about where it might go or what the consequences might be, because Mars in Aries is not really about the consequence. Meanwhile, Pluto is like, you're gonna reap what you sow type of vibe here. So there can be a damaging that happens to the self, or it's something that is simply not meant for you for the long run, or it can show up in the form of inner blocks and inner conflict, like I mentioned for Scorpio, but other zodiacs will feel it, but not as strongly. Okay, or if you have some important placements in Scorpio, then yes, of course you're going to feel that too. Now there can also be some inner blocks that stop forward movement. So what do we do here? With squares, we have a lot of energy. Mars in Aries is already fueled and pumped and ready to go, and square itself comes with a lot of energy. So we're going to use it. Instead of sitting there and be frustrated about what we cannot do and what we cannot figure out, we're going to figure things out. If we have the urge and the energy, we're going to drive forward, and we're also going to solve the issues that come to the surface, because pushing these issues away and putting it under the blanket, under the carpet, it's not going to help, right? So we will do both of these things, and it's kind of like they will both of these different aspects are going to fuel us for the long run. So all in all, good ultimate result. Okay, then on the 2nd, we have two things happening. First is Mercury in Gemini trining Saturn in Aquarius, and now Saturn is in retrograde as well, and it went retrograde on 4th of June. So when Saturn's retrograde, we go inward and backward and we evaluate what structures are not working for us anymore. And Mercury in Gemini can come up with so many different ideas. It's like quick conversations, effective conversations, paperwork, contracts, discussions, and phone calls and emails, and a whole lot going on when Mercury is in its element. And our mind is very sharp, it's curious, it's incisive, it can catch little details that we would otherwise miss. And Saturn and the trine, there is a lot of opportunity here. We can have deliberate conversations, we can have very strong one-on-one impact on one another, and there will be well thought and well executed processes and plans that can take place on this day. Then we have changes in existing structures, because if something does not suit your forward moving plans or your next plan of action, then we are totally free here to make the necessary shifts. Okay, and the last thing, on a more spiritual or self-developmental point of view, we are more aware of our inner inhibitions and what our mental blocks are. And Saturn also brings about a lot of healing, but here's the thing, like Saturn brings into first awareness, and usually during the awareness itself everyone wants to scream and melt their faces off, but that being retrograde is like, but wait, we can do something about it, we're gonna heal it, okay, we're gonna think this through, we're gonna figure this out. So there's a lot of opportunity that comes with this configuration, and it is up to us to grab those. Next thing that is happening is Mercury in Gemini again, squaring Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde. When Neptune is in retrograde, the illusions and the delusions are not there. So everything that makes life a little bit pleasant, or we try to, oh no offense, but blah blah blah, right? All those things are a little bit masking, a little bit taking off the edge. But when it is retrograde, things just spew out. Okay, so there can be that here, this is what I want, this is what I wish, and this is my plan, and I'm gonna go forward with it. Okay. Now, keep in mind that if you're assigning something on this day, you are deliberate, and there will be some structures that are shifting, and at the same time there is the supportive behavior because of Saturn. But still be careful, read the fine prints, because Neptune can be a little bit tricky in how it reveals things. It can, those details that we missed, that can come back around after Neptune is direct again. So yeah, keep that in mind. And it might not even be your fault, okay? This is not, usually with Mercury going retrograde, it's about how, we missed certain details and we did not see the small print. But with Neptune being retrograde, I feel more, it's just something that has not been decided yet, okay? It's not something that you are doing here. But it will come back around, and then we can deal with it when Neptune is direct again. Okay, there can be a certain lack of clarity in thoughts and speech because of the square aspect. Like we're thinking something and we want to deliver it, and whatever we are saying, we know what we are saying, but how it comes across might be a little bit unpleasant to people who do not know us, right? So yeah, some things to keep that in mind. And the last thing, on a self-development point of view, we have past issues that resurface for healing. Okay, so healing is just overall a big theme on the 2nd of July. Solution: focus inward and evaluate dreams and visions and the reality of them. Neptune retrograde, it's gonna give you that reality check that we all need from time to time. So yeah, take advantage of it. On the 5th, we have 2 planetary ingresses. Mars is moving from Aries to Taurus. Over here, Mars is slow. Mars is about to be lazy, it procrastinates a little bit, it does not want to rev ahead as much as it would want to otherwise. But if you already have that idea, because Mercury in Gemini, we have the idea and we have that boost, we have that motivation, then we can focus it. Okay, Taurus is excellent for focusing, grounding, steady action, taking small little steps in order to make that long-term goal happen. It's about the little things. It does not like change though. It wants to seek its comfort zone. So if you're trying to establish a new habit, then it is important to set little goals and give yourself enough incentive to keep going. Okay, and also in general in the world, processes are just going to be slower because everyone's feeling this vibe. So it is important to be patient, and Mars in Taurus actually has quite a bit of patience here, so that's not something to be worried about. Now, the solution to make the most out of this energy is to, like I said, steady, slow, long-term plans, little actions, lay down structures based on the goals, based on the plans. Okay, and also Mercury will move from Gemini to Cancer. First thing to note, there might be some desire to connect with family, home, mother, and the emotions. We think about the personal desires instead of the objective plan. We also are more empathetic, sensitive, and our intuition is very strong. And our emotions might cloud logic. That's the one flaw over here that I felt. It's important here because Mercury is the planet of the mind, and Cancer is very emotional. It connects with the heart. So it's important to align these two things. If the heart says no, but the mind says yes, maybe it's not the way to go. It's important that both these things say yes before we move ahead with something. It's basically a very nice time to learn the balance between the head and the heart. All right, moving on, we have on the 9th of July, Mercury in Cancer squaring Jupiter in Aries. Now, the first thing that can happen here is overestimating and overpromising, because Jupiter is like, yes, of course, yeah, we got this. And in Aries, it's like, go get them, right? But because of the square aspect, and Mercury being a little bit clouded in its judgment, they might be like, oh yes, of course I can do it, but then you figure that you don't have that much time as you had planned before, or there might be some interferences that come in the way, or perhaps you said yes to too many things and now it's hard to keep up, right? So there is that tendency here, so keep it a little bit light. And like I said, if your heart's not in it, you don't feel like helping out someone, just be like, no, thank you, I don't have the time today, I'm sorry, perhaps some other time. Now, the second thing that can happen here is that the broad vision for the future is there, but we're missing out on the little details. So it's nice to have like overview plans, right? Note down the ideas that come to you. Don't forget about them. Use the boost of the Jupiter and meticulous work that allows your desires to come into fruition. Recheck details before signing anything, before committing to something very big. And yes, it is also important to check the details and listen through conversations before we let our heart react, because the heart can get hurt quite a bit, but the mind is there to help it rationalize. Is this worth putting your emotions into? Is it not worth it, right? So we have to check in with both things and make sure that both elements, the head and the heart, are functioning well. Okay, then on the 13th, we have Venus in Gemini, trining Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn being retrograde. So there is the opportunity for inner healing because of the trine. We have mental recuperation, and there is an uncaging of ourselves so that we can experience more independence and freedom within us. We also recognize what is important in our environment to have freedom and happiness and prosperity in order to recognize the abundance, to love ourselves, to love the people, and also express our love and gratitude. We also want to cultivate new mindsets and perspectives on love and respect as well. Okay, so all in all, quite good here. And also on the same day, we have full moon in Capricorn. Some things to note here. One is that there will be a releasing of an old emotional attachment related to ancestry, legacy, heredity, reputation, long-term success, trajectory, and also authority figures, okay? Full moons are when the moon and the sun are opposite one another. The moon is in Capricorn and the sun is in Cancer. There can be a desire to go out into the world and make things happen, but focus is being pulled into the home and family. There is that opposition, right? And the third thing, that a little bit too literal, but let's go with it. Father is at home, mother is at work type of dynamic. So your heart wants to work perhaps, or you really want to get something done, but at the same time you have more responsibilities at home, right? So over here with oppositions, we need to find a balance. That's why they are here. That conflict or that struggle is sort of helping us and encouraging us to find a better balance between these two elements. How much do we attach with earthly gains, and how much do you want to focus at home? What is really important? We have to redefine things a little bit. On the 14th, we have Venus in Gemini squaring Neptune in Pisces, which is retro. There can be this feeling of being victimized or insecure due to the reality check that is coming out here, and it can lead to subconscious or unconscious fears, or it can even show you that which you have not realized before, but it comes to the surface. You're like, whoa, okay, so I don't feel good about this, and I don't know how to think in order to make myself feel good about this moving forward. There can be the feminine side within all of us that struggles a little bit to express because there is that lack of confidence, and there is also difficulty escaping. We can try, but this configuration here feels a little bit tough to, stop the thoughts. Okay, then the solution here is work through the problems, don't try to avoid it. The key is oftentimes in the mindset, even though we see it as manifested in our physical constraints. So it's important to evaluate the mind before we blame the physical circumstances, right? It's just that the physical is used as a message to bring to us what we actually need to look at within, right? Alright, then we have Sun conjunct Mercury in Cancer on the 16th. And here we are adaptable, we're curious, we are quick to express, open and expressive with emotions. Both are in Cancer, so heart is open here. And there is bonding through emotional body, so a lot of strong connections with other people. Heart-to-heart conversations can take place on this day. So any important conversations you want to have with home or family or someone close to you, like a brother, a younger sibling, then this is the perfect time to reconnect. Then on the 17th, we have two things going on. First, the Sun is conjuncting Mercury in Cancer, and that is trining Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde. So there is the ability to adapt to the current reality, the new truths that have come into view. We're now learning to cope with it and figure out how do we assess this, how do we move forward from here. And the second thing is that there is a lot of mental strength and stamina that protects us against difficulties from our mind or our emotions here. We're also able to express the heart, and we have strength to do so, right? Third, realistic goals and plans can be brought to the surface, and that is going to be based on desires, of course. And there is that ego sense of view, but also I feel as though it's a combination of the soul and the ego. There is a meeting point, there is a mutual understanding in this configuration. And then the second thing that was taking place on this day, we have Venus moving from Gemini to Cancer. And over here, it is a little bit happier. It is forming caring, loving, and genuine connections, and we want some cozy feels rather than, go, go, go. We're not so interested with this intellectual and social stimulations. We just want that home environment. We want people who are like family to us, and whoever we feel most home with, we want to connect with them and find love over there. We want to express our love with them as well. On the next day, on the 18th of July, we have Mercury in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn, which is retrograde. So there is the wish to think comfortable thoughts, be comfy and cozy, but the truth is as well coming to the surface. In a negative sense, it can lead to inner conflict and opposition, extreme whiplash between this side to the other side, and with oppositions, it can be solved sort of through the Temperance card, finding that balance again. There is moderation that is needed. When transformative actions need to be done, do them and take the desire for true connections and communications to reach an elevated level of love. This opposition and this strive to balance can actually lead us to a heightened level of connection with people that are there in our lives and are very meaningful to us. Then on the 19th, we have Sun in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn retro. Conflict with self-esteem and identity that can come up here because Sun rules our identity, and also addictive behavior, manipulative, self-destructive behavioral patterns can be resurfaced, and these things are needing to be healed. That's why they are surfacing. Solution again, moderate and balance. Hear yourself out and be kind to you, okay? Pluto can be like, nope, what is true, what is dark, let's just go for it. It's not afraid of anything, but as humans we have that element within us as well. And the Sun also rules the ego and the pride, and when that is, it can feel scarring or scathing, but it's not for that intent. That's why it's important to just be kind with yourself. Do something self-care. Be at home, be in a comfortable environment, or be around people that you care about and who care about you. The Sun is also going to illuminate the areas where the healing can happen. Sun in Cancer can be quite healing, and it brings into the focus of that. So show the people that you can count on, that you count on them, and it will also show you who you can count on too. Quite useful. On the 19th, we have Mercury, which moves from Cancer to Leo. Good first impressions. Leo is, it's ruled by the Sun, and it is very confident. So Mercury being there is confident communication, and we're generally louder when we express ourselves. So if you're usually shy, this is the time that if you want to reinvent yourself or you want to come across in a different manner to other people, then this is the time to try things out. Leo is acting as well, so people can act very well. It's just more useful when you're doing it more consciously, right? You can shift your behavior and experience a new reality in this configuration. You're more likely to be the talker and less of the listener. Now, if everyone talks around you, then that can be conflicting and confusing, and a lot of details can be missed here. So make sure that you're also listening. It's important to keep that balance between talking and listening. It can also turn into competitive wordplay, so Scrabbles are going to be difficult this time to win. Then we have natural authoritative demeanor. Okay, everyone's carrying that boss vibe. So be mindful to back up the big promises with actual action and a plan of action instead of only saying words that sound impressive. All talk and no show can be a manifestation, doesn't have to be. Now, fun and funny interactions, quite enjoyable time, can be social, a lot of extroversion can take place here, exuberant conversations, a lot of passion going on. All right, be confident in yourself, enjoy the self-pep talks, but make sure to deliver. Alright, now the sun, it will move from Cancer to Leo on the 22nd of July, so officially it is Leo season by that time. So the king is home when the sun is in Leo, and we all have our charms on and our confidence on as well. We are all playful, fun, flirty, want to pay attention to hobbies. What do we enjoy? What do we want to be spending time with? Who do we want to be spending time with? We are going to do that. If we want to respect ourselves, honor ourselves, and love ourselves, we're gonna do that. Okay, so there is more want also to connect with the inner child. If we are unable to give ourselves the love that we desire or we seek from the outside world, then it is going to bring that focus inward and be like, why am I not able to give myself that attention? We're going to deal with those things. It moves from the seahorse father figure to the lion father. In other words, it is the switch from the nurturer to the provider, from the home to the authority, accepting to demanding, king of cups to king of wands. There is more entrepreneurial vibe going on here. It's not so much about feeling cushy and listening to everybody's emotions, but more, all right, this is my willpower, this is what I'm inspired to do, this is my motivation. I'm going to go and create things that are going to make me happy. I have cared about everyone a lot. It is important for me to care about me as well. Okay, so there is that switch. Remain grounded and humble. Channel instead of disperse this energy. There's a lot that can come with this. There's a lot of creative force that comes with Leo, so use it as best as you can. Alright, now Mercury in Leo is trining Jupiter in Aries on the 23rd of July. So signing contracts and business deals will go very smoothly. Confident and optimistic view and communications, and broad future orientation that helps everyday decisions. Alright, so big picture view is there, and also the little plans here. Next, on the 25th, we have Venus in Cancer squaring Jupiter in Aries. So there can be some excess spending, and these spending are things that would make us feel very good, actually. We would enjoy, and we might enjoy a little bit too much. It's very good for fun, but not so much for responsibilities. And actually, Venus in Cancer, again, she wants to be taken care of, okay? She doesn't want to be... Yeah, of course, there is that mother archetype, but... again, it's caring about the people that you care about, not about filling in forms, right? So, not very good for responsibilities in that sense, but you can have a lot of fun over here. Optimistic vibe, jovial social interactions, and reconnecting with people that are close to you. If serious topics come up, then try to postpone the interaction if you can, or go through it by thinking about the implications of the matter at hand. Alright, so solve conflicts through calm, affectionate gestures. If something is a little bit annoying, instead of getting very annoyed, you be like, okay, I'm just gonna breathe a little bit and do things one by one. Hey, hi, alright. Get it? So you have to be more calm in this situation if it is about responsibilities, but if you can, take some holidays already. Then on the 26th of July, we have Mercury in Leo squaring Mars in Taurus. So the mind can be impulsive, but the action is a little bit slow and steady. So it's like unable to fuel the energy, the creative ideas that come right away into fruition. Okay, Mars in Taurus is like, but I just laid down some other structures. I just did that. You want me to switch things up? You want me to add new things? I don't think it's gonna take a while. Okay, it can happen, but it's gonna take a bit of time. And I have to go through some frustrations and annoyances because you're bothering me at this time. And there can be some arguments that we have within ourselves and also with other people who are more exuberant with the ideas. Meanwhile, it's like, oh, but I don't want to do so much right now. It's not so great for meticulous work because of that tension, and work that needs a lot of finesse might not work out very well. So avoid very mentally stimulating activities or situations. Try to be as diplomatic as you can in your conversations. Come up with the ideas, get excited, note them down, and get started one by one. There's no need to force everything to happen quickly or as quickly as possible. Mars in Taurus wants to do things one by one, but do it well. Then on the 28th, we have Mercury and Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. So there can be some radical new ideas that come up here. Radical interactions and changes can come up here that can cause chaos sometimes, hence the square causing that bit of tension. Also, because Uranus is in Taurus, topics about changes in finances or the way that we're earning or spending, or topics of self-worth can come up here. And a solution here is to take the ideas, think about them, think them through before making big changes, because radical changes can be just immediately impulsive, like I have had enough and that's it, I'm not going to cater to this anymore, I'm leaving my job. Meanwhile, you don't have option B. There is no plan B. So what happens now, right? That is unneeded or unwanted chaos. Unless, of course, you've been thinking about this for a while and this is just that, final tipping point. Then yes, sometimes radical changes are necessary, but make sure that you've thought it through. Sudden movements are, in general, discouraged. Okay, on the same day, we have Jupiter in Aries going retrograde, and the focus of the big questions and the quest comes to turn inwards. It's about what our personal goals are, what our big goals are within ourselves. There is more introspective vibe here when Jupiter is retro. There are self-realizations and awakenings that can come up, knowledge and wisdom that surface from the past and difficult experiences we have had, and like, whoa, I did not know that I learned that much in that little bit of time or that little situation or interaction that I had. But I'm thankful that that happened because it taught me a great many things. Course corrections can also be made if we have gone overboard with something, like with the Venus squaring Jupiter, right? If we've spent too much, then there can be that sudden realization and that radical change we need to make with how we manage finances, and now we need to take a long hard look at why we're doing all that spending. Okay, now on the 28th of July, we have new moon in Leo, and new moons are when the sun and the moon are both in the same sign, and it's a conjunction. So in Leo, there is more hopeful and optimistic, future-oriented mind over here. The feeling of confidence in the future is there, and the self is blossoming and boosting and brimming and all those nice things. So set intentions, make new decisions with everything to do with Leo. Charm, fun, flair, child. Healing of the inner child. Alright, now on the 31st, we have two things going on. First is Sun in Leo trining Jupiter in Aries retrograde. So we're feeling lucky, we're excited about things, we're optimistic and exuberant. The new knowledge that we are getting about ourselves, the new priorities, that is boosting us even more to attract like-minded people and attract like-minded situations, to bring that clarity out in the open, or internalize it and be like, okay, so that's why I feel this way, so I'm gonna make use of that now. I'm gonna come up with new ideas. I will show a new side of me. I will express my persona even more. So your magnetism is essentially rising because of that increase. Next thing is Mercury in Leo opposite Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde. So there can be the lower self-esteem, self-isolation. Doesn't have to be bad here, alright? Self-isolation is the needing to think things a little bit through, that introspective vibe again. And Jupiter in retro also is being introspective, so we are in general retreating and we want to figure the big questions out for ourselves. The topics of freedom of expression through childhood and now can come up as well, and we think about those things. As with all oppositions, we need to do things one by one in moderation. We need to find the right balance. Saturn can be a little bit depressing because it's like, oh, this is a problem and it is serious. It's very serious. It's very serious. It can really emphasize that quite a bit. So the more we keep catering to that and keep listening to that, it's harder to pull ourselves out into the ditch. And the point of bringing the serious problems into attention, into focus, is not that we, dig ourselves down and, stay there, but rather, that's a problem, please solve it. Let's go, let's move forward. So don't let critical thinking scathe you so much that your healthy pride is as well damaged. And please don't isolate to the point where you're suppressing yourself. Connect with like-minded people, or people who have had the same issues with their inner child or healing, or whatever it is you are dealing with. And if something about your passion plans kind of don't work out, it's fine, because it's taking place because it's not fitting well with who you are and who you're supposed to be. With Saturn in retro, we want to restructure things. So it's okay if some things don't work out. We can always edit. We can always flow with what is coming up. If things fall through, accept it and find the new balance. Okay, so that's how we are finishing July. I really hope this gave you a lot of insights and information. Quite a big month. I think all of us are gonna figure quite a bit out for ourselves, and that can redefine how we move forward from August onwards. So stay tuned for the zodiac readings, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, like, share, and subscribe as well. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.